All right. Welcome to another edition of Star Wars The Old Republic. I still got Psoto, which is my transferred character. I got him up to level 77. I'm going to keep trying to level him. I don't think I'm going to do any of the storyline for this character. I'm just going to have him at 80 and make him like a crafter or something like that. This is the one I like to use. And this one is the Jedi version. So I have a light side and dark side. They're both in the Angels of Destruction and Angels of Harmony. So these two storylines, I may do both of those. When I transferred this character, it gave me credit for completing all the storylines because I already did all of them already from the other server. So it actually transferred this credit over. But anyway, I got 3 more levels on this guy. That's what I'm going to work on today. I'm going to be playing some Dr. Phil in the background, Dr. Phil podcast. There we go. Oh yeah, I'm on my ship. Now I'm going to try random stuff, and if random stuff doesn't work, I'll do heroics. Oops. Let's see. Well, let me start up the podcast.
Well, I'm back talking to a very relieved father, Frank Gervasi, the father of Emma Ray Gervasi, who went missing and was gone for 26 days. And let's be honest, we all see these stories where a young girl is lured out her bedroom window. She's talking to somebody on the internet. She goes out the front door. And if she doesn't come back pretty quick, the hope of finding them alive is not good. It's just not good. And it doesn't always, it typically doesn't turn out well. We typically find the body and not the individual. This was different. Frank never gave up hope. He had fears. It haunted him. This went over the Christmas holiday where it was the toughest and he says the loneliest holiday that he ever went through. But he didn't give up hope. He kept looking. The community kept helping. They organized search parties. People put up flyers. He was on social media. He did everything he could. And then after 26 days, something happened. And he did get a call. And Frank, tell us about that call. You got a tip. What happened? Who called? What happened?
So God gave me a gift that day. The thing is that she's been missing for 26 days, and we would get a ton of leads. The police department was inundated with their own investigations, tips being called into the PD, et cetera. So it's very hard to follow every tip that comes in, and a lot of tips are bogus. People are trying to help. They think they see your daughter. I think I saw her here, or some people call you an hour later. But when the tip came in, I almost didn't believe it myself. It sounded a little far-fetched, but the lady seemed to know, and without going too much into details on the person that called in the tip, she seemed to have a lot of information on my daughter that was, pertaining to her that made me believe that she might have been on that boat. She go ahead, Phil, I'm sorry.
You think the lady may have been on the boat?
She was 100% with my daughter when she called me, and she had told me some things about my daughter and maybe her tattoos and things like that made me believe that it was more and more legit as I was driving there. I did place a phone call to the PD and let them know where I was going. I know there's a lot of question marks about that on social media, but I did alert the PD and let them know where I was going.
All right, so you think this person may have been in the presence of your daughter at the time she made the call to you?
No, she was definitely in the presence of my daughter when she made the call to me.
Wow, okay. So, and she told you things about your daughter that made you know that she was with her, had information that verified that for you?
Correct. Yeah,
Again,
It was just about her tattoos that she has on her neck and things like that made me believe that she really was not my daughter.
Well, that tells you a lot, because that's detail. So she's telling you, I'm seeing this on her neck right now, so you know she must be looking at her at that point. What did you think and feel?
I figured that, yeah.
What did you think and feel when you hear this?
I was excited. I mean, I was hopeful. I was, I was driving pretty fast to get there, and I was hoping that it wasn't a bogus tip. I really wanted it to be my daughter, because I followed other tips in the past, and you get your hopes up, and then it turns out to be somebody else.
Wow.
So I was pretty hopeful.
Well, that certainly gave you some detail. So how far was it from where you were when you got the tip to the boat that you drove up on in Islip?
I was about 20 minutes away at the time I got the phone call, and I tried to keep the caller on the phone the entire time.
Were you able to?
I hung up to call the PD, and then I called her back, and she did pick. Thankfully, she picked my call up, and she was legit when she stayed on the phone with me.
Uh-huh. And was she still on the boat when she picked the phone up when you called her back?
No, she was never on the boat. She was outside the boat.
Okay.
With another person.
Okay, so she was still there, though, at the location when you called her back. She hadn't left.
Right. So
Okay.
she had been on the boat. She removed herself from the boat and said that she was standing outside the boat at the time when she called me.
Okay.
And that she was on the boat.
Frank, why do you think this person called you? I mean, what do you think what do you think motivated her? I'm asking you to kind of play psychologist for a minute here. Why do you think she called you?
I think the person might have maybe had a moment of clarity and felt bad, and realized that she might have been the missing girl, and just had like a moment of clarity and said, let me call the dad.
And we're not naming her, so you're not defaming anyone or putting anything in jeopardy. Do you think she was involved in this process before and had second thoughts about it? Do you think she was a bystander? How do you think she knew what was going on?
I definitely think she had some involvement to it. How much involvement, I don't know. It's unclear to me, but I definitely think she was an active participant in what was going on, sure.
So you think she may have been involved in the illicit acts that were going on around your daughter and felt bad about it, felt guilty about it, bonded with your daughter in some way?
I think so.
All right, but she stayed on the scene, and when you pulled up to the boat, was she still there?
Yeah, she was.
So you saw her?
Yeah, she was very nice, very open. I didn't feel threatened at all. She just wasn't too clear if the guy was on the boat or not. She said kind of go on at your own risk kind of thing.
Yeah, so, and you had called the police. You said some people were saying comments on social media or whatever, and who cares about that? Who cares what people say, social media say? But you disconnected from her, called the PD and said, I've got a tip, I think it's legit, I'm headed to this location, and told them what you were doing.
Correct. And they did arrive, but it was shortly after I was already there.
All right. And did they try to get you to wait?
No, not at all. They just said they were sending people over. That's pretty much what they said.
So you got there, you see her. Did you talk to her before you went in, and she said, go in at your own risk?
Pretty much, yeah. And at this point, it's been 26 days. I didn't want to take a chance of, God forbid, the police had to get some kind of warrant and the guy having to hide my daughter. I just didn't want to give any chance of anything. If this really was her, I just didn't want to wait. And I didn't want to take any chances of actually losing her. So I just kind of went in at my own risk.
Was the door locked? Was the boat locked? Did you have to kick it down? How'd you get into the boat?
Yeah, I kind of busted through the door and went in.
Yeah, and did you find her right away, or did you have to look around?
No, she actually came walking towards the door, as I guess because she heard all the the commotion going on, so she came walking towards the door. But there was like a curtain in front of me, so I couldn't really see it was her at first. And then the moment I saw her, it was a beautiful moment.
Oh, I can't even imagine. And did she recognize you at the time? I know you say she was in an altered state of consciousness. Did she realize it was you?
Instantly knew it was me. And she was surprised that I was there. She said, "How the hell did you find me?" She was definitely happy I found her, and she seemed relieved.
Okay, well, I've got to know more about this, and I'm going to ask lots of questions about what happened in that moment when Frank finds his daughter after 26 days missing on a strange boat 20 minutes away from where they lived after an anonymous tip. It didn't stay anonymous, but it came in that way. Poor sleep impacts productivity, focus, and energy, making it difficult to tackle daily tasks effectively. Tossing and turning through the night leaves many feeling drained and unmotivated. Beam's Dream Powder offers a solution. This science-backed healthy nighttime blend is clinically shown to improve sleep, helping users fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, and wake up refreshed without grogginess. Dream combines powerful all-natural ingredients like reishi, magnesium, L-theanine, apigenin, and melatonin, creating a blend designed for consistent, restful nights. It has become an essential part of nightly routines for those seeking better sleep. The ultimate sleep refresh for the new year. Try Beam's best-selling Dream Powder and get up to 40% off for a limited time when you go to shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil at checkout. That's shopbeam.com/Dr. Phil and use code Dr. Phil for up to 40% off. Frank Gervasi never gave up. After 26 days, he gets an anonymous tip that he believes is different from the others because he got a lot of tips. The police got a lot of tips. And some of them were bogus, some of them were trolls, some of them were just saying what they thought was a legitimate tip. Maybe they did see something, maybe they didn't, but this one sounded different. This one he started questioning, and they had details that you kind of had to be there. You kind of had to be having your eyes on this precious young 14-year-old to know what you were describing. And he felt it. And he got in his car and he headed that direction. And when he got there, he crashed through a door and found alive, not necessarily well, not necessarily the way that he would want, but he found Emma Ray alive and on her 2 feet. Frank, take me through that moment when you get from around that curtain, she's standing there. What did she say? What did she do when she realized my dad's here? My father is in this room on this boat. What was her reaction?
Dad, oh my God, I can't believe you found me. We both hugged each other, we cried, and it was an absolutely beautiful moment.
And
it was a beautiful moment.
Was she relieved that you were there? Was she embarrassed? Was she excited? How do you think, what was going through her mind and heart?
I definitely think she was relieved I was there. She didn't seem to be upset that I was there. She was very excited to see me. She seemed relieved, and we actually sat down. When I realized there was nobody else in the boat at that moment, we sat down, we had a nice conversation until the police arrived. And it was a beautiful moment.
Now, when you went through that door, you didn't know whether there were people in there or not. You didn't know if they were armed. You didn't know what you would find, and I'm pretty sure at that point you didn't give a damn. If you thought your daughter was on the other side of that door, did you clear the boat? Did you look around? What did you do once you got in there to be sure that she was safe and you were safe?
To be honest, I did clear the boat after we hugged and embraced each other. I did say, to myself, who else is on this boat? I did hold her behind me as I went through the rest of the boat and cleared the boat. Once I realized nobody else was there, my concern was I knew he was coming right back as far as what she said. But at that point, I didn't really care. We just sat down. I wanted to assess her, look at her, talk to her. She was coherent, and the police were arriving shortly anyway. So at that moment, I didn't care about anything but my daughter.
Yeah. How long before the police got there?
I'd say it was a good 5 minutes.
Yeah. And what was their reaction when they came in and realized after 26 days, because let me tell you, they had to be thinking, this girl's gone. She's either been trafficked out of here or she's dead. When they come in and say, wow, he's right, this was real, she's here, she's alive, what was their reaction?
I have to be honest with you, the police department was very helpful, and they did a good job in aiding me to find her. They never stopped looking for her. But their reaction was probably just like mine, like, I can't believe you found her. And, they had the SWAT team there. They had a ton of people at my disposal as soon as they showed up. And I think they were all pretty relieved that she was alive and in better condition than we thought.
Right. And so at that point, what happened with your daughter? Was she taken to the hospital? Did she go by ambulance, police car? What did they do with her at that point?
Yeah, we went in the ambulance. They assessed her, and then we went to the hospital.
Mm-hmm. And when you got to the hospital, what did they determine her state of physical health was? Had she been given drugs? What was her condition?
Yeah, she definitely was given drugs, and she seemed dehydrated.
Right. Did they find anything else about her condition? Had she been assaulted, abused, beaten, anything that they could determine?
I'd rather not answer that right now, if you don't mind.
No, I understand completely, and I look forward to meeting your daughter and talking with her, and I promise you when I do, if I get that honor, I certainly won't ask her any embarrassing questions, but is it your belief that she is getting better each day now? Is she on the upswing?
Yes, she's definitely getting the help she needs. She's in recovery, and she is safe right now.
All right.
And that's what matters to me, is the frightening part of her being missing, to at least knowing she's safe and getting some help right now.
Yeah.
What I'm doing here is I'm swapping out the mods. I got a lightsaber. Where did I put it? Here. And it has mods in it. So it costs you a shitload of credits to take the old mods out. These mods are like level 270 or level 75. These are level 75 as well, but they're better. They're level 306 mod versus a 270. So I just pop those out, pop these in, and now my lightsaber has the upgrades that the lightsaber I found had. Okay. So I wanted to test something and see something here. For example, I have, no, not the cartel market. I have in my collections lightsabers. And I can get a copy of it. Let's say I get a copy of this. Okay. Let's see the base damage. I wanted to see if the base damage, see 27 to 41, and this is also 27 to 41 plus, I think it's 60 or 80 force. This has the same thing. I thought that this had less statistical bonus than the ones that you drop, but they don't. So, yeah, that's all. Those are materials. Here's another thing. This also has those mods. Okay. That's a weird helmet. See, that's a 270 mod. I don't need that. I can use this 360 and this 316. So I think I got, okay. So if you look here, you see down here, right there, it says item modifications, HILT 308. I mean, I think it's 306, 306, and 306. They're all the same color. Both of these are upgraded to the 306. Okay, this one only has the armoring updated. See, this has both. This one doesn't have any. This one has both. Could take that one out. It costs money to take it out. To take out this big one here, it was like almost 80,000 credits. I had to transfer a lot of credits over for that. I got 306, 230. This is armor. This is an old armor. Now put the 306 in there. Let's see. So now I have a 306. Trying to get them all up to 306, and then later on maybe I'll find a way to get better armor rating. Here's a 270, 270. See, you can get the 270s pretty easy, but to get the 306 is the next bump up. And then I'm thinking there's more after that, but it's a interesting process to figure out how to do that. Then after I'm done, here I look at this. This is 138. Don't need it. Okay. So after I'm done with that, go back in. Click on this. This is for deconstruction. And I deconstruct everything just to see what I get out of it. Everything. Deconstruct. This used to be very meticulous, but now it's a lot easier. See, these are all the raw materials I got out of it. It'll add to my stash here, because here's materials. And then there's currency. Some of that stuff will add here. All right, so it costs me money to upgrade, but after a while you don't have to worry about it because yours upgraded. If I get everything to 306, I consider myself lucky, and I get these mods free by just doing these missions. Before I start the next mission, let me play another video. Okay. Let's see. Alright, so
Yo.
This is a different subject. This is Taylor the Fiend. He's one of my favorites because he kind of supports the dude and doesn't trash on the dude all the time and points out certain things that women do make mistakes with. But women, in my experience, don't admit they made a mistake. They never will. They'd rather die than admit they made a mistake. So, there we are. Anyway, this is many men have decided to remain single, the biggest reason. This is Taylor the Fiend. Like I said, I'll put all the links in the description.
Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video here today. Many men have decided to remain single. The biggest reason why. Now, this is going to be a woman who's going to be trying to explain to us why men are remaining single. So we shall see how accurate she gets it. Let's jump in, guys. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments.
Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today, I want to talk about what I believe is the biggest reason why a lot of young men are staying single. I could make this into a video of 100 reasons why men are choosing to be single today, because there are a lot of reasons.
Yeah, I mean, this woman, if she wanted to, this video is like 12 minutes long. I guarantee you she could have made this an hour if she really wanted to. Not that hard. There are a lot of reasons why men are refusing to date.
We know that there are more young men remaining single than in any recent generation. And I do think that there are a lot of factors, but I want to dive into what I think is one of the biggest reasons why I've been hearing from young men as to why they have decided to remain single. I've come across a video of a gentleman talking about his experience, and it looks like he's in his maybe late 20s or 30s. And I think that he verbalizes his experience really well. So the first thing we're going to do is listen to it. And I want to talk about what he's talking about, the impact of what he experienced and the change of mindset that he kind of breezes over. But I think that a lot of men are going through exactly what he went through, and it's making a very large impact on our society.
Yeah, you know who it's making a very large impact on, by the way? It's making a very large impact on women, right? Now, as of the time of me recording this video, guys, TikTok has been banned. We will see how, that progresses, if anybody is allowed to buy it, if they actually do sell the app and it goes back up and running. But as of the time of me recording this video, TikTok is down. Now, the reason why I bring this up, guys, is because women are really affected by this crap. How do I know? Because when I was recovering TikToks, you would see so many women crying, complaining, angry, bitter about the fact that men are not committing to them. Now, granted, they're chasing the top percentage of men, okay, but this is indicative that men as a whole really aren't offering up commitment like they used to women. So you have a whole bunch of women, man, who are approaching 30, and a lot of them are scared. They haven't secured the marriage, they haven't secured the kids, and dudes have they've just opted out, man.
And it's making a very large impact on our society. And then lastly, as usual, I'm just going to give some advice. I'm going to give some advice to women and to you guys out there that are experiencing this, because I really think that those of you that are listening, it is already an excellent sign. It's a good sign that you guys want a relationship, right? You wouldn't be listening to this content if you weren't wanting that.
I mean, I'm going to have to disagree there. I think a lot of guys who, they come across this stuff, man, they've already checked out. They're not interested. Now, granted, there are some dudes who obviously they would like to have a family. They would like to have a girlfriend or a wife or something like this. But there are also a very large group of men who are just like, you know what? Screw that, man. I'm done. It's not worth the headache. A lot of these guys, man, they've lost houses. They've lost children. They've lost other assets. They've lost their sanity. They've been cheated on many times. They fell for the, she's got guy friends trick, and so on and so forth. And I think a lot of guys are just absolutely done, to the point where dudes are actually leaving Western countries. Now, I'll be interested to see what this woman's advice is, by the way, guys, because usually when women make these videos, it's not because they actually give a damn. I'm always very skeptical of these videos because usually the woman doesn't actually care and her advice makes absolutely no sense. Now, I'm going to give this woman the benefit of the doubt and see what she says, but that's just my perspective. Usually these videos don't actually come from a place of empathy or trying to actually give good advice to men. So let's jump in. Let's continue.
And so I want to give you advice as to what you can do to better improve your chances of finding the right woman for you and developing the right relationship for you. Before we get started, guys, please remember to like this video and subscribe if you haven't yet to catch my videos every Friday. Before I say any more, let's watch the video that inspired the content today.
What is the most painful thing anyone has ever said to you?
It was definitely what my ex said after we had our closure moment. She said that I was the person that got her out of her depression and got her outside And then the moment that she realized she had to do that for me, she couldn't, and so she left me. I was in a very dark place. I had a lot of people dying at that time.
How did that make you feel?
Still processing it, yeah. Definitely like used and often like I feel like abandoned in that moment. Made me feel like I've had to have everything like secure before I get into another relationship, but that's unhealthy for myself.
Why do you think she felt like she couldn't handle it?
Some people just, I don't know, when the going gets rough, that's when you realize who are the real ones in your life.
What did you learn about relationships?
Even the people you love can do some of the worst things to you. You can choose to forgive them or not, but all you got to do is forgive yourself and accept who you are and just keep going.
The amount of men that were in the comments in the original video and in the video that I posted in regards to this video that have said over and over again, guys, do not tell your feelings. Do not open up. Do not be vulnerable like this to a woman. They have experienced this. I can't even tell you guys, as a woman giving dating advice, I can't tell you absolutely don't worry. Just tell her your feelings, because honestly, I don't think that most women can handle it.
Yeah, the thing is, most of them, number one, they don't care. And number two, the moment you stop providing something, they just bounce anyway. You know, this is why men don't open up about their feelings a lot of the time, is because it's simply not worth it. You know, I saw a comment the other day, man, and it was something like, men don't open up or they don't talk about their problems because half the people don't care, and then the other half are glad that you have them. You know what I mean? But like, yeah, if men are out here struggling, if they're going through bad issues, whether that be mentally or financially, nobody particularly gives a damn, guys. And a lot of these women, they're not, you know, they're not the ride or die type of women, man. They'll just straight up leave your ass. Okay, some dude's like depressed, some dude's got a lot of issues going on, or he loses his job or something like this. She's out of there, man. I have seen this so many damn times, guys. It'll be like, a man will go through a rough patch. I've heard of dudes getting injured and things like this at work, so they have to take time off. They get injured at work. They're out of work for a couple of months. They've got a serious injury. And then all of a sudden, there's just issues in the relationship and the woman just bounces. But, oh, don't worry. It's not because of the money. It's not because he can't provide any more. It's not because he's not stable enough. They just grew apart, you know, is what the woman would tell you. But dudes know the moment you stop representing stability, oftentimes you're just going to get ditched. The dudes who don't provide anything, whether that be, you know, mental stability, financial stability, actual protection, and so on, you just get ditched. Dudes understand this from a very young age, man. You start trying to tell people about your feelings, a lot of them don't care. They simply do not give a damn, particularly women. By the way, women are actually way worse at this. Women will sit here and be like, man, why don't men communicate and just listen to each other? But I tell you what, you open up to a dude, it's probably going to go a lot better than opening up to a woman. Let me just say that right now.
Because honestly, I don't think that most women can handle it. It's so tough, guys, because I think it's really difficult to really know how a woman is going to react to your vulnerability.
I mean, let's be honest, most of the time it's just straight up negatively. And there are also many women who, they might not react negatively in the moment, but they just end up using it against you later on. It's really messed up, man. Dudes will go out there, they'll pour their heart to a woman, and then like 2 months later, she'll just use it against him. And the comments on this video, I'm sure the comments would have been uploaded a whole bunch. Men would have been like, yeah, you know, been in the same boat, did that, and now I'm divorced. You know, oh, girlfriend left, and so on and so forth, man. Particularly the women who have been with a lot of guys, by the way, they just have no pair bonding ability whatsoever. So the moment you represent something other than what she wants, she'll just try and trade your ass up and ditch for the next guy, you know?
And for a lot of men, honestly, you're so strong and you're so committed to being a provider that maybe you never really experience a large hiccup in your life. And, you know, you're in this relationship, you're married, you have a family, and you continue on and things are smooth sailing. But for a lot of men, it's not that. And like, they do have a hiccup in life. And then for their woman to not be able to hold space for that is really challenging.
I find this language very strange. Hold space. I don't really know what this means. I understand what this woman is trying to say, but hold space. Men just want to actually be supported. And to be honest, they don't get that from a lot of modern day women, guys. Like, if you go out here and try and have a relationship with your average modern day woman, particularly one from a metropolitan city, and you expect her to be supportive when you go through a rough period, I mean, a lot of guys will tell you how that goes for them. And it's really quite sad, man, because dudes will go out here, they'll provide absolutely everything to the woman, they'll help her out through thick and thin, and she'll be sad, she'll go through really rough periods and so on, the dude will stick there, but the dude goes through something and she bounces. And also, just by the way, dudes go through a lot of crap, but most of the time they just don't say anything. That's really what it boils down to. You'll have dudes who will go through the worst experiences of their life, and you won't even find out until 2 weeks later on a random Wednesday, and he's like, oh yeah, by the way, this happened. And you know what I'm saying, guys? Like, because men typically understand that nobody's going to be there to save them. They can't just, do a post on Facebook or Instagram and get a bunch of people in their DMs who give a damn, who are trying to talk to them and be that shoulder to cry on. It's like, no. That's not typically how it works for men. Nobody gives a crap.
We could get into the reasons why I think that this has developed, because I think there are reasons why women have become this way and they don't hold space for their man as much as maybe previous generations.
I mean, women have always not really been attracted to this behavior from men. It's just that the quality of women these days has deteriorated. Back in the day, you'd be able to find like a wife or a solid girlfriend or something like the women used to be of a different caliber, guys. The body counts were lower, the single motherdom was significantly lower. No-fault divorce was also introduced, things like this. So the odds of the woman actually sticking it out with you were a fair bit higher. I think they were still not interested in this behavior. You know what I'm saying? But many of them had a higher ability to pair bond and actually stick it out. I feel happy for these older people, man. I see people who are like 60 years old and they've been married for 40 years. That's absolutely great. I'm happy for them. But I do think that modern day relationships for a lot of guys, complete scam, complete waste of time.
I think that we, in general, are more materialistic. I think that we have these high expectations that have been inflated because of dating apps and because of social media. I think that the few men that have had bad behavior, poor behavior in relationships, I think that it just gets inflated because of social media and because of stories, that there's a lot of distrust in men. I think.
Yeah, so here's what happens. Here's the reason why this happens, okay? Women go out here, they select the top percentage of dudes off of dating applications, the men who have all of the options, and then women cry when they get treated like an option. That's all that it is. Women go out here, they select the men with options, they complain that they get treated like an option, and then, of course, they blame all men for this behavior. And just by the way, these men, I love the language here because the men don't want to commit, right? But the women always phrase it like he's toxic or he's terrible. Many of these men are actually, some of them lie, obviously. But many of them are quite clear that they don't want anything serious. And the women will still come out here and be like, oh, he's toxic, he's this, he's a narcissist, right? And they'll start labeling him with all this crap. But really, it's just that the man doesn't want to commit. And I think women take great offense, guys, when men don't want to commit to them. Like, they lose their marbles and they can't conceptualize that a man can be, physically interested in you, but does he have any desire to actually have a relationship with you? No. Is he actually attached to you? No. Women don't seem to comprehend this, that a man can hook up with you but have zero desire to spend any time with you whatsoever. And that boils down to, number one, the dude typically has a bunch of options. And number two, the women don't really display any qualities, for example, that make them a viable girlfriend or a viable wife or the mother of your kids and stuff like this.
Of distrust in men. I think that because there's more and more divorces, there's more single mom homes raising kids on their own, and they're either cutting out the dad or the dad isn't involving himself, to where boys are being raised by single moms girls are being raised by single moms and they're not seeing that healthy dynamic of a relationship, and they're not having the influence of their dad, which is very necessary. So
just by the way, I'm of the mind, guys, that more often than not, the women are actually just shoving the dudes out of the household. Like, yes, they choose bad men, but a lot of guys are actually interested in raising the kids that they have with a woman, but the women kind of shoo these men away and push them out of the family units more often than not. I'm not saying that there are not deadbeat fathers, right? I'm sure there are dudes who will get have a child with a woman and then just bounce. I'm not saying that these dudes don't exist, but I think in the majority of cases, the dude is just being ditched and thrown out of the family unit, man.
So yeah, there are reasons to why this is happening, but the bottom line is that when it happens, a man is going to feel like he has just gave. He gave so much within the relationship, but then when he's the one that needs a little something in return, she can't do that for him. But then the minute that he can't give as much, that woman that he gave so much to, all of a sudden is unhappy in the relationship and decides to end it.
Yeah, what a surprise. I mean, you guys let me know down in the comments, okay? If you have a situation like this, right? Maybe you've had an ex-wife or an ex-girlfriend or something like this. Obviously, leave out names and stuff. But if you've had a similar situation where you go through some stuff, let me know how that went for you. I'd be interested to know. I don't say that to make fun of these guys. I just know that a lot of men have had experiences, where like they lose their job or something, or they go through a rough patch where family members are passing away and things like this. And then the women are just like, you know what? I'm not happy. So let me know in the comments. Has this happened to you? And if you don't, obviously, don't name drop or anything like this. But if you have a situation to share, guys, absolutely do share it below, because I think a lot of guys have actually gone through this. I think this is an incredibly common thing where the dude is temporarily unable to provide, and then the woman just absolutely bounces. It's really sad, guys. It's like the dudes will put in so much, and then like this woman says, when the man requires a bit from her, oh, hell no. And ironically enough, a lot of guys, they don't require a whole lot in the relationships. It's not like men have these great big lists and things like this. Usually they just want a supportive woman who's normal. I say normal, and so I mean like healthy. Normal, healthy woman who's not going to, slash your tires if you don't take the bins out or something like this. But many of these women just don't, wouldn't trust them not to damage your tires personally.
And decides to end it. So I think it's very reasonable as to why that man all of a sudden now feels like he needs to be in a really good spot before he can date. Because he has learned that a woman that he's with is not going to be happy if he's not in a good spot. And surprise, surprise, because what that creates is a lot of young men that are trying to build through their 20s, like they don't have everything that a woman might say that she wants because of these crazy expectations. He is going to feel like he can't win, like it's an impossible mission, because he doesn't have exactly what she wants, and he can't be emotionally vulnerable with her. So if he is not in an excellent mental health status, if he doesn't already have a bunch of money, if he doesn't already own his home, if he doesn't already have his investments lined up, if he doesn't already have all of his baggage taken care of, there's just so many things. And look, the bottom line is that we cannot be perfect human beings, especially in our 20s.
Yeah, so the bottom line is women are requiring a whole bunch of things, and oftentimes they don't provide the same in return. And I actually saw a video of this recently where a woman from New York City was losing her marbles, saying that, oh, her fantastic and independent friends, well, they don't require a man to have a lot of money. They're all in their early 20s and they're out here dating bums, and they can't even get commitment from the bums, right? Which I found to be absolutely hilarious. So women tend to value the finances more, particularly as they get older and they realize that they need stability. They're trying to rush out and have kids and things like this because of the biological clock. They're trying to get married and so on. But yeah, absolutely. Women just demand so much crap, guys, especially from the long-term man, right? So here's the thing. When she goes out there and she has some random hookup off of some dating application, okay? She goes out there, she does her solo traveling across Europe, right? We all know what that means. When she does these things, the men that she hooks up with, the only requirement for them is that they're attractive, okay? But the dudes who have to take her seriously and who want to put a ring on it, oh, we have to do everything, guys. You got to be the complete package. I've actually heard women say this crap before, guys, where they're like pushing their 30s and they're like, the next guy I get with, he really has to tick all my boxes. It's like, can we ever talk about the boxes that men need ticked, or no? Is this just women get to demand whatever the hell they want and men are supposed to just, bend over backwards to try and fulfill it? Because I'll tell you this, guys, if you say to a man, hey, listen, you have to go out there and you have to make $100K a year, you have to work really hard on your body, you have to do this, you have to do that, and your reward is a 30-year-old woman who's been with 35 different men, you're going to have a very hard time convincing that man to go out there and put that kind of effort in. You're better off just saying, hey, man, if you go out there and earn a whole bunch of money, you can have that cool car that you want. That's probably going to convince the guy a lot more than one of these modern women. Like, holy hell.
Like, that is one of our greatest periods of, I feel like, learning and human development. So for there not to be really that much grace, it does leave men feeling like they are just there for what they can provide. Like, they are not loved for who they are as people.
I mean, we never are. Like, let's be honest about this. Let's cut the crap, okay? Dudes are not loved simply for existing. Right? I hate to get into this, guys, but love is really quite a transaction. Okay? If you are not somebody that women see as a viable dating prospect, like, women have metrics. Like, let's not pretend that women are out here just floating around looking for their random ass soulmate. Okay? Oh, I just connected with this individual. Like, no, they have metrics. They have things that they're interested in. They have things that they're not interested in, which, by the way, many women completely lie about. Okay, if dudes want to be, women to be interested in them, we have to provide crap. We have to be something. Whether that be you have to be highly attractive in terms of facial features, height, hair, so on, or whether you bring finances or so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to bring something. If you don't have something, nobody cares. Okay, people understand, man, that a dude who's broke, bad mental health, bad physique, no friends, nobody cares. Like, that dude will just be left, like, nobody's going to be sitting there talking to that man, especially women, man. You can probably make friends with other dudes, sure, but, like, women certainly will not have a lot of tolerance for that.
Like, you can't blame them for feeling that way. I think that there's a lot of clear evidence that points to why they feel that way. And look, I'm not even saying that it's all women's fault. I'm just saying that when one particular man goes through this, and this is what he comes out the other end saying, it is that woman's fault. It is, I blame that woman. I blame his ex for now him having issues and staying single for a period of time. Like, I do think that that's detrimental to him, like, and to his ability to have a relationship that's healthy with a woman.
I mean, let's multiply that by all of the men who have gone through similar situations. Are we going to hold those women to the same standard, man? Because otherwise, we'd be running out of good women if that were the case, right? I mean, I'm just following this woman's logic here. Because I certainly think, guys, that the grand majority of women treat men like this, especially in Western society. Like, again, if you were to pluck out the average Western woman in a metropolitan area, okay, they don't give a damn. Dudes go through rough patches, they'll bounce. They're not out there. Like, these women will say that they're kind and empathetic and they're just looking for their Prince Charming. They're just looking for love and all of this esoteric nonsense. But no. That's really not what it boils down to, man. They don't particularly care. And this happens to, I would say, the majority of guys who have been out there dating. You've had a girlfriend or two, you've had a few, right? Whatever the case may be. This is a very, very a common occurrence for men. This is not something that just happens to 1 in every 10 men. You know what I mean?
Now I want to give you my advice to women first, okay? To women, it's pretty simple. I think you need to learn to hold space for a man's vulnerability. I think that you need to feel secure in yourself enough and self-confident enough in yourself, and you have to work on yourself to build that up. You cannot just rely on everything, every good feeling that you ever experience coming from a man. You can't rely on that. Like, you should be able to hold an uncomfortable, unknown space.
Okay, so this woman uses some strange language here. with the holding the space thing. But if I'm interpreting this correctly, this is not altogether that bad. You know, if your man's going through something, you should be supportive. You shouldn't just bounce. You should, quote unquote, hold space. I'm giving a generous interpretation to what she's saying here. Yeah, fine. I don't know about this work on the confidence thing. Like, what the hell does confidence have to do with not just ditching a man? You know what I mean? That's where I start to get a little bit lost, man. It's like, you know, if you want men to be vulnerable, don't punish them for it. That's really the translation here. If you want men to be emotionally intelligent and vulnerable with you, maybe just don't beat them with a stick when they do. You know what I mean? I don't know what the hell it has to do with gaining, like, women have to go out here and get personal confidence, whatever. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. Holding space, if I'm translating it right, then sure. I mean, that's probably pretty accurate. You know, hold space for the man, you know, support him if he's going through something. Yeah, that's probably pretty solid. Let's keep going.
For him, for going through hard times, especially if you ever want to make a long-term commitment to a man, because when vows are involved, I know today's day and age, like, that might not mean as much as it once did, but it should. Yeah, I mean,
vows are the same as they were. The people are just different, man. And also the system is different. Women are allowed to break vows simply because they feel like it. Women can leave you because of irreconcilable differences, okay? Women can file for no-fault divorce. They can throw away the vows. Vows are vows at the end of the day. They don't technically mean any less. It's just that the women are allowed to throw them away. That's really what it is.
So I think that a lot of women need to work on that. Now, my advice to men is that I think that you should be able to be vulnerable, but you need to make sure that it is appropriate for the amount of time that you've been together and for, like, how deep the relationship is. So I don't think it's a smart idea in both ways, right? For a woman or a man to be super vulnerable with essentially a stranger, you know, if you've just met them a week ago or 2 weeks ago.
I mean, sure, but this is not typically what's happening, I would argue. I would argue there are dudes out there who are in long-term relationships. You know, maybe you've been with the woman for a couple of years or something like this. The dude will go through a hard time. He won't be able to financially provide for a period. He'll go through some mental health things, and she will just bounce. Okay, like, let's not... It's not just random women that men are meeting, and then they dump their feelings onto her in the first week, okay? I'm sure that does happen. But what dudes are explaining here, what men are saying, is that in these long-term relationships, maybe you've been with a woman for a while, they will still just up and leave your ass, okay?
At some point, it should happen. It should just naturally happen. You don't even need to test it. But I think that you shouldn't hold it back when it comes about in the relationship. Say you're a month in, you're 6 months in. That's actually perfect. 6 months to a year. I would say, in my brain, that's a perfect timeline to be vulnerable with your partner about something.
Let's think about this for a second, guys. Okay, so you have to be in a relationship with a woman for 6 to 12 months before you can talk about your feelings. Guys, like, why even bother talking about your feelings at all? You know what I'm saying? If it takes 6 months for your woman to even give a damn, it's like, what's the point of even sharing your feelings in the first place? You know, guys, I would say after the 6 month or 12-month period, then you're allowed to have a problem and talk to her about it. Like, come on. Like, what are we talking about here, man? Like, again, I want to stress this, okay? It's not like men don't have feelings. Men absolutely have feelings. But, like, this, you've got to admit, this is kind of funny, right? It's like you have to be with a woman for 6 to 12 months, then you can start talking about your feelings. It's like, okay, do women have this time period, guys? Because holy hell, they'd be screwed. If women had to be with you for at least 6 months before they got to talk about their feelings, like, I'm pretty sure the women would just implode, right? Like, what is going on here? Let's rewind that and see if I'm misinterpreting. Okay, sometimes I misinterpret this crap. Let's go back.
Or 6 months in. When it comes about in the relationship, say you're a month in, you're 6 months in. That's actually perfect. 6 months to a year. I would say, in my brain, that's a perfect timeline to be vulnerable with your partner about something and look at their reaction.
Wait. So yeah, I am interpreting this right. So correctly, right? So 6 to 12 months. Now you can be vulnerable with your significant other. Now you can be vulnerable with your girlfriend or wife. Again, guys, this is the crap I'm talking about. It's like, what the hell's the point? you know what I mean? Like, if you, let's just say you go through an issue, right, at like 3 months in, 4 months in, and you're like, man, you know what? I haven't met that 6-month deadline. Screw it. I'm just never going to mention my feelings, because like, what the hell is the point, man? Like, we clearly don't give a damn if the dudes have to wait 6 months to tell you about a personal issue they've had. Guys, you're, let's, I hesitate to joke about this, but right, let's just say you've got a family member who passes away, okay? You're 3 months into the relationship. Well, unfortunately for you, my friend, that's 3 months before the, the expected period where she's going to give a crap, or at least pretend to. Comedy, no? I think that's absolutely hilarious. And they wonder why dudes don't talk about their feelings, man.
And I think that you should react to their reaction in an appropriate manner. So if she does not react well to you, all right, I could say that's a red flag. Just move on. Leave it at that. But I don't think you should even just do that. I think that you should call it out for what it is. Because if you take that and you walk away from the relationship and she walks away as if, that was just circumstantial, you went through a tough time and she just couldn't handle it. That's like not okay. It really isn't. I think that especially in this situation where he was there for her and he helped her get through it, she couldn't return the favor. She couldn't even just be less than that and just hang on. He wasn't even saying that he needed her to do exactly what he was able to do for her. She just needed to maybe hold space for it and just hang in there and be okay with him resolving the stuff on his own. So what I'm saying is that in this particular case, if he had said anything back to her, such as, look, this is what I've done for you, and you can't even return this. This is how it makes me feel. It makes me feel like you've just used me. Like you.
Oh, there you go, talking about your feelings again, Guys, I don't even think it's worth saying this crap. I really don't. Doing like this spiel about how like you feel hurt because she's not listening or something like this. Like if the woman's not listening, she's going to bounce anyway. What's the point of you telling her more about your feelings? She clearly doesn't give a crap,
You were just here when I could provide something to you, whether it was emotional support, financial support, whatever that was during that time that you had difficulty. And for me to go through something difficult right now in this moment, and for you to just completely give up and to not be able to be there, like it feels like you didn't really love me. It makes it feel like you were just here temporarily.
Yeah, and so here's what's going to happen if you say this crap. It's just going to be crickets, and then she's going to be like, okay, peace anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you go to a woman and she doesn't give a damn, and you think by doing this spiel about how it makes you feel, and you feel used and stuff like this, the woman's she's just going to say okay and bounce anyway.
Until things, became not as nice in your situation. I think that this is the part of really open and honest communication that is so necessary in a relationship. And while this example that I gave to you guys, this is a little bit of an extreme, and I would say this is just a total red flag, and he needs to just walk away.
I don't think it's an extreme at all. I think it's actually incredibly common, guys. Like that video that we saw at the start of this woman's video with the man on the to her side that she brought up, like the TikTok or video, a short video or whatever it was. Like that's not an extreme example in my opinion. I think that's a pretty average one, to be honest. Like, granted, the dude was going through some pretty serious stuff, but a lot of guys go through some pretty serious stuff. I don't think that's extreme whatsoever, man. I think a lot of women react the same way that she did.
There are smaller things that happen within relationships, which I think a lot of you guys just kind of get over the hump and you don't push back on your woman as much because you want to keep the peace. But I do think that early on in a relationship, so if you're 6 months in and you're vulnerable with her about something and she makes you feel bad for it, I think you can call it out as simply as, that's kind of crappy behavior that you did that and you made me feel bad for that. And I am just fine now. You know, like I will take care of this myself, but I'm just letting you know that you weren't there for me. Like call the behavior out. And I think that we might see some changes within that relationship, especially early on. You want to set the tone before continuing on, because I think that when you don't set the tone, whether it's coming from the man or the woman, things kind of just continue on and they can seep into the bottom of the foundation of the relationship. And then you guys are just stuck. So don't get stuck.
Yeah, so here's the thing. I don't think that women are going to give a crap. That's what I really think it boils down to, man. You know, it's always on the men to do the open, honest communication. But I just don't think these women care oftentimes, man. Okay? Let me know what you guys think down in the comments box below. Have you guys been through something similar, right? Have you lost a job? Maybe you went through a hard period or something and you feel comfortable sharing it in the comments. Make sure to leave it below. And compare, you know, have a read of other dudes' comments and see what the go is. But we're going to be leaving it there. Don't forget to leave your thoughts and your comments, guys. Make sure you take care of yourselves, and I'll be seeing you all in the next one. Peace.
Shape the galaxy on invisible wings. Such greatness is only attained by the marriage of animal engineering and the Foundry. A few upgrades and the Foundry droids can process Adegan crystals and construct stealth squadrons in record time. Darth Malgus united our technologies, as he will unite the galaxy. assist. Fighters on my tail. Look for defensive turrets. Something to turn against that scum.
Emperor Malgus says hello. Stay still! Stay still! Stay still!
Most impressive. Jindo Cray was among the first to join me. He will become a martyr, and others will flock to continue his fight.
Sorry, this is taking a while. I can't stop it because this is live with real people. I gotta keep trying. So, oh boy, yeah, it's like men and women don't really trust each other anymore.
the Schism Collective turn back. This place is not for you.
The Imperial fleet will crush the...
Seems like the first shot. Your name. Advisory. Prepare to die. Advisory. Prepare to die. Offering.
Yeah, some people like to go through the dialogue, but I'm like, nah.
You are an ally to...
Ooh, man, this is taking a while. Yeah, I think after this I'll end the video.
The Imperial fleet's taking heavy casualties. If you're gonna do something, do it now.
Oh, they locked me out because they started fighting. Jesus. Good thing you can still pick up credits.
One of you has vowed to join the new empire. But which one? I'm certainly not telling.
Alright, one more level and I'm 80. I should have took those other components out of the lightsabers instead of just the ones I did earlier, the ones I scavenged. I should have took those components out. It would have been smarter. Would have gave me more components. Ooh, finally, this is the ending part. Ooh, it takes forever to do this one, man. And you can't do it alone. I tried to do this by myself. I couldn't do it. Couldn't get past, like, one of the guards. They're too strong.
Stubborn as the dying empire. Welcome the Emperor.
Come on. Somebody's asleep at the wheel,
You
man.
are no Emperor. You surround yourself with alien yes-men.
Malgus the Betrayer, in the name of the...
Die. For the new Empire. I hear the Grand Moff is calling me Malgus the Betrayer. Tell me, did my deception sting? I haven't enjoyed myself this much since the sacking of Coruscant. Enough games.
Let me down, asshole. Let me down, asshole. Jesus.
Feel an Emperor's wrath. Impressive, but it won't be enough. Enough games. I should have killed you on Ilum when I had the chance. Your fleet is doomed, and with it, the old Empire.
Thus the false emperor is dethroned. I won't let you join Malgus in death. Hurry to the hangars. I'm coming for you.
Core power levels critical. Warning. Estimated blast radius 1.92 kilometers. Minimum safe distance 2.4 kilometers. Reactor overload. Primary systems failing. Meltdown imminent.
Whew. Man, that Darth Malgus is a bitch at Ilum. I couldn't get past a certain point. I couldn't get the robot because they give you a free robot with it back. So I'm like, son of a bitch. You know? Let's see. Oh, this one's a little bit better. Just a little bit better. So it's fluctuating between 276 and 278. I didn't get anything with any mods this time, which sucks because I really wanted to get some of those done. But anyway, we'll do this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and end the video here and take a break and do some stuff and all that, and then I'll come back, probably make another one. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Sorry I wasn't able to switch. I was in the middle of that thing. But I got one more level. I'm on level 79. And one more level to bring it up to 80. And then I'll probably, let's see. Let me log out there. Okay, these guys. Oh, so the Jedi has to level up a bit more. Did that one. Well, this one's one more, and then 5 on this one. So after him, when I get him up to 80, I'll probably switch over to this one. But this one's got a lot of storyline to do. I'm going to do storyline for these two. Right here. And that'll be it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Bye-bye.